You lose me real quick with the fake nose. No. Okay, bye.
Oh yeah.
It's
But why you
great
ain't?
night.
You said
Yeah.
no.
Have a
N-O.
great night. It's
Have a
been
great
evening.
Evening.
Lovely.
Good fight, good night.
This is
Hold
over.
on, y'all can't see it, but Cleveland gave it a thumbs up.
The double thumbs up.
Yeah.
Like no hugs, nothing. You said no. All right.
All right.
Who's out of here? This guy.
This guy is out of here. I'm not sticking around.
You're now tuned in.
You're now tuned in.
You are now tuned in
You're now tuned in.
You are now tuned in
to the Juxtaposition Podcast.
Welcome to episode 58 of the Juxtaposition Podcast, aka the Extraordinary Nobodies, aka the Starting Five, aka the Five Heartbeats, aka Four Heartbeats and the Possible, soon to be a guarantee. I am your host, Varstinio Hall. We have a pretty important episode to get to y'all today. We're going to talk about a few important things. We're going to have some laughs, but we definitely want to make sure we talk to the young brothers at the top. The first half of the episode is just no means no, bro. Always has been, always will. Just catch her on the flip, man. There's plenty of fish in the sea, yada, 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 all those cliches. Just leave her alone. Just leave her alone. But how was y'all weeks? Cleveland, starting with you. How was your week, bro?
My week was good. Chill.
Right back to
my normal, right back to my usual.
Back to the igloo.
Exactly.
Just chill. Oh, I get it. Chill, igloo. You
see what I did right there?
You see what he did there?
While we're talking about Alonzo, happy 7th wedding anniversary, good brother.
Yeah. Sheesh. 7 years in.
Yes.
Wow, 7 years, bro.
7, stay mellow.
What y'all get into? What you do? I mean, this is a public platform. I know you got 2 kids, but
well, yeah,
what did you do that you can share?
The nightcap, but we just chilled. Friday we as a family got I got a pedicure. They got the whole works both, and so we just
your wallet got.
Yeah, pretty much. And then Saturday we went to a comedy show in Philly to the Punchline, and we actually went to go see Miss Pat. I don't know if y'all.
Oh, Miss Pat is hilarious.
Yeah, she's
ignorant.
Yeah, I would say that. Like, she was definitely funny, but like in today's world, like how we gonna get into how people are saying.
I think she like the new Thea, because if you ever watched Thea the show,
old Thea that could,
you would think like, oh, it's like family friendly now. You see a Thea like stand up, you're like, different shit.
That's a good ass accurate assessment, Thea, yo. And for those of y'all who don't know who Thea is, Google your black sitcoms. Go back to our episode on that one too.
Wasn't Jason Weaver on Thea?
Yeah, he was the son.
Was it Jason Weaver? Brandy was on Thea too, right?
Oh yeah, she was.
Yeah, she was on there. So, I just chilled, man. That was it.
All right, James.
What they do, baby?
How's the gig? How's life? I know things about to change for you drastically.
Yeah, so the gig is cool. Like I was saying last time, I got placed into a specific sector, so I'm covering enterprise software. And at this point, I'm just kind of getting up to date on learning everything about that particular sector and the companies that we're looking to initiate. We're also going to be working on some IPOs. Obviously, can't get into that specifically, but that's kind of really exciting to learn about a company from the ground up before they go public. Really getting the depths of it, so that's interesting. Went to my brother-in-law's wedding on Friday.
Oh yeah, shout out to Gabe, man.
Yeah, shout out to Gabe. That was a good time, and just kind of chill for the weekend. And tomorrow is the day, or at least tomorrow starts the day for the birth of my daughter. So by Friday when it's released, she should be here.
Hey, congratulations on
that, brother.
That's all. I just wanted to call you the boss. That's all. Yeah, man. Hoping sending prayers your way. Hoping everything goes good. I know everything's gonna be just fine.
For sure.
But yeah, man.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, we're definitely excited about that.
Sir.
You are the pappy. You
Oh,
are.
and I got a
That's-
work phone for the first time in my life, and I feel very important. Just want to put that out there.
Oh, hold on. You worked for a phone company for mad years. You never had a work phone?
That's not a work phone. That was like you had those. You needed it to like sell it, so that's what they gave it to you. But
He didn't have a separate line. He just had
Yeah.
his line.
Did you
no,
get your
it
new
was a
phone?
separate line. It was a
You had a
separate
separate
line,
line?
but they give you the phone to sell it. Like, you know what I mean? It's a tactic behind it. So it's not like a work phone, like a corporate phone that they're giving you. Like it's so we and then you got to change it out like every time new ones come out. So they change it so that you can say, hey, look, I use this phone myself. Buy this
okay.
one.
Yeah.
Bingo.
I had a work phone when I worked at Facebook, and it was like not the newest phone. I was like, man, no, I don't want to use this shit.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
gave me an iPhone 11, product red at that.
You don't like the red one?
Nah.
Too gaudy for you?
Yeah, I gotta get a
I
cover.
feel like
for
that's
this
what I
shit.
got. Nigga should have.
My last joint, I had an iPhone 7.
My bad.
7? In what
A
year?
7, bro. Last year, before I got this job.
Last year?
I had an iPhone
Nah,
7.
son.
That's what
Listen,
they gave you at work?
That's
Yeah,
disrespectful.
they never upgraded me. I started working there in 2016.
So 7. They gave you the
Yeah.
phone that came out when you started.
Basically.
It was like, what year? What year
There
did
was
you
like
get
you're
here?
never
All
getting
right.
an upgrade. That joint was clean
All
though.
right.
It was clean. It was clean. It
Oh,
worked.
Oh,
But
so it was
I kept it
10s?
clean.
It was
They 10s. I keep
kept
them
it
clean
10.
though.
It was
Yeah,
the
word.
7. I got an iPhone 7. I keep it clean. Ain't no
You
viruses.
can't text on
nothing.
his phone though. There's no text messaging allowed on the phone.
Wow.
Like the
Oh,
app
okay.
has been deleted.
Messages.
Oh,
It's just not there.
They saving it from yourself.
I just
It's
happened
just
to look
emails.
for it. I was like, oh, there's no text message app on here.
That shit just emails.
That's crazy.
You got a mobile email machine.
No,
You
Seriously.
it's just so they can obviously be in touch with you 24/7.
That's all. Like, hey James, like, yo, my
Uh-huh.
man, relax. Chef, what's going on with you? How was your week, bro?
Week's been going well. Just came back from Jersey not too long ago. Just to go visit some family. That's been going cool. I'm actually gonna head back out there this week, celebrate my mom's birthday, take her out to dinner.
Okay.
Oh,
Hey,
nice. Happy birthday.
Appreciate
Happy
it.
Shout out to
birthday.
moms.
It's on Thursday, but I'll probably celebrate Friday or Saturday. But that's cool. And I wanted to ask you, why'd you say what you said earlier in terms of like, no means no? Because I kind
Oh,
of
me?
yeah.
So our first topic is going to be heavy in boundaries. And one thing I always used to hear, and I want you to finish your part, Kev. The thing I used to hear about women always, whenever there's a tragedy and a man harms a woman, there's always a question on the timeline about like, who's holding these men accountable? Who's checking them? And I kind of want to have a conversation around how we hold each other accountable and the people in our space. We put those boundaries in place, and you can't hang with me if you're not a certain caliber. So kind of get into that conversation.
Okay, that's cool. Just wanted to clarify that. That
Just
was
make sure
that was
Just to make sure they know that we saying no.
Yeah.
We've been saying that. No men
We
know to me
understand
since
no as
04.
well.
Seriously.
Now the reason
Right.
why I asked that, because when I first heard it, I'm not sure what listeners out there thought about the ones that think that no means actually
Yes.
challenge, right?
Yeah.
Because that triggered me low key, and I was like, to
We'll
me,
get to
You lose,
that.
you lose me real quick with the fake nose. No. Okay, bye.
Oh yeah.
It's a-
But why you
Great
ain't-
night.
You said
Yeah.
no.
Have a
N-O.
great night. It's
Have a
been
great evening.
lovely.
Good fight, good night.
This is
Hold
over.
on. Y'all can't see it, but people gave it a thumbs up.
The double thumbs up.
Yeah.
Like no hugs, nothing. You said no. All right.
All right.
Who's
I'm
out of
in.
here? This guy.
This guy is out of here. I'm not sticking around. I don't do the fake nose, boy.
nah, that's respect. But
Oh
it's all
my
been good. Yo, shout out to Alejandra if she know why she listened to this, and
Oh, what she do? What she do?
she'll tell you.
Let me give Alejandra an air horn just because.
Working, man, grinding, going through
Heard
the every day is just a new vibe life right now. So every day trying to survive, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So that's the reality of
more-
it.
More life. Speaking of more life, if you're hearing this on Friday, then that means that the regulators have turned 16.
Shoot.
Yes, sir.
October
Yes,
already.
sir.
Yep.
October 15th.
16 years in the
Sweet
frat.
16.
That's crazy.
Damn, bro, we
Yeah.
about to be 15 then, Kev.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
He's old.
Crazy.
Jeez, bro, 15
Seasoned.
years.
Sprinkle a
Wow.
little pepper, a little salt and pepper on the top. You know what I mean? You know it's coming.
Shit.
Just think about. All right, we're not gonna spend too much time because the listeners don't care about this.
Yeah.
But if you think back to when you was coming into the frat, and then you seen dudes 16 years that was in the frat, you're like, get your old
Bro,
ass
he's
out
so
of here.
old.
That's when I was saying how I
We
thought 30 was
Why,
old.
why y'all talking about Kyle like that?
Yo, it's crazy.
We thought
Yo,
30 was old.
So
yo.
for us, if we do math, right, what's 16 years from 2005, like the other way?
Like strolling them. Kyle was 91.
Oh, that's like 94?
Nah. For
That's
us,
what-
No,
05,
that's
that's 10.
I'm sorry, that's like 80, 91?
89.
89,
90,
right?
91 is Kyle. That's what I was saying.
Y'all sound crazy.
Either way,
1990. Are
Either
y'all
way, it's
listening?
ancient.
89, 90.
Wait, carry 2.
Hey.
Divided
I
by
was
It
with
is
4.
89. It is 89. 16 from
89 and
05
90.
is
And
89.
15 for y'all. So 89, 90.
Don't nobody know how to
looking
do
back-
math in their head.
know.
Everybody
Not in
use their
years.
fingers.
Yo,
I'm
Stop
terrible
it.
at
Everybody
math
use their
years,
fingers,
yo.
damn it.
Working backwards.
You better believe it.
And we are
Everybody use their
proof,
fingers.
you fucking teachers, that we can do it without using algebra. We are
Just
proof.
take
Solve for
four
X.
five college educated black men to figure out.
Yo, we just
16
did that.
years.
Yo, we just did that meme. Like, yo, when you could be smart and slow at the same time.
Hashtag fuck algebra. I'm starting the
That's
campaign.
wild. And I was pretty good at math back in my day.
First
I
of all,
knew
you
I
scaring
knew I
me,
wasn't
James,
gonna
because
use
ain't
it.
you supposed to be dealing with people money?
No,
Right.
I don't deal with anybody money.
He did with the
Not one
company's
person.
money. The company's money.
Not even the company's money.
The company.
The company. So let's get into our first topic, which is tragically the death of Miya Mercano. She was a student in Orlando, Florida. Have y'all heard about this story?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So for those who haven't heard it, just a brief overview of it. Miya was a 19-year-old student at Valencia College in Orlando. She was missing for 8 days, and she was unfortunately tragically killed by a maintenance man in her building, of whom she repeatedly denied his advances time and time again. Miya was actually found bound with black duct tape on her feet and her hands, and her mouth was covered with black duct tape as well. It's so super unfortunate that, you know, this is somebody that she's seeing every day and continue to try to say things to her. And I should also mention he forced himself on her, killed her, and then killed himself. The maintenance man. I'm not sure his name. Don't care about his name. But for y'all to set the scene, like, what was your thoughts when y'all first heard this story?
When I first heard the story, I honestly wanted to understand like the opinions of the women that I know, like, and see how they felt about it. And literally the most shocking thing that I heard from everybody that I talked to about it, all of the women that I talked to about it, is I'm not surprised.
It wasn't a surprise. Yep.
I was like, bro, that's sad, yo. When they all just like unanimously agreed that there's no surprise in what happened based upon their own experiences too, not just because it's a crazy world and nothing like that, nothing generic, like based upon their own experiences, they're like, yeah, I can see a guy doing that.
But for you,
Which was
Cleveland,
shocking.
specifically, as having a daughter or teenage daughter
Mhm.
like that, how did this strike you?
It was scary, man. It was scary that like just saying no and not being interested in someone would lead someone to do something so heinous and crazy. Like you literally ended somebody's life because they weren't into you. And it's scary to know that there's men out there who really roll like that. Like they can't handle rejection to the extent where you're willing to kill somebody, and then in his case, and turn around and kill himself over rejection that we all have experienced. So it's scary.
You were going to say something?
I was gonna say the first thing I thought. I mean, my sister lives in Orlando, and she's a single individual, lives by herself. So I was on heightened sensitivity. My mother and I and my dad, and we're like, "Yo, like be on point. If you out late, like don't be trying, strolling into your apartment so recklessly late. I mean, she got a little dog. He loud, but that, you know what I mean. It's a little dog. Ain't no pit bull or nothing. So." That was the first thing I thought. Was like that the empathy of putting myself in the position, of my own. And I just was like, yo, this it's crazy. Like people's weirdos to me. Like that's just like it's like some TV show. Like we see that on these CSI, Law and Order, and all those type of shows, and then to see it actually happen in real life is like, this is wild.
Mhm.
So a question that I have for y'all additionally, and I want to hear Kevin James' point on this. Do you think he told guy friends how he felt about her? And do you think that I don't know how old he was, but do you think at that age guys are able to hold each other accountable? Not to say he told somebody he was going to kill her, but like he keeps pushing up and she's saying no. Let's say let's assume that he's around the same age as she is, maybe 2-3 years older. Do you think that friends in a normal circumstance have the bandwidth to be able to say like, yo, bro, you're wilding?
It's not that I guess it depends on your friends. Yeah, they do, but there's probably a shit ton that don't have that bandwidth or just won't do it. But I think he was delusional though. I think that
Facts.
if he had those conversations, it was more like, oh, I think she's into me. She looked at me one day, kind of smiled or said hi to me. It's those delusions that some men have that for some reason, just because a woman is nice to them, especially if they're pretty, think that they're into you. Like they're
And
just saying hi. And that's
funny
why a lot
enough,
of time, that's why women be like, yo, I don't say hi to people because they always think that you're flirting or you're doing something else, and then you think they're an asshole. But this is the reason why they don't speak.
And this is why making fun of your friends is okay. Because sometimes you gotta hide the medicine in the candy. Like, bro, she's out of your league. You had no shot. like, nah,
Just
bro.
keep it a buck. Yeah.
Just nah. She's no. You?
Yeah.
You? Nah.
I wonder how he communicated
we-
it too, though. He might not have communicated it as crazy as he really was. Like, right? He might not have said like, "Yo, I think she feeling me." He might have been like, I don't know. He could have communicated it in a way where it seemed like she was legit feeling him, right? Like he might have been communicating to his friends like, yo, this is girl that I work with or that lives in the apartment. She always smiling. She walking by me with the workout clothes, like ask me how she looked. He could have been lying through his teeth, right? Like, so they could have had a completely different perception of his interaction with her at the same time.
I mean, you're absolutely right. Kev, how about you? How did you feel about the entire ordeal?
How old was the guy who murdered her?
He was older. At least he looked older.
I think he was in his late 20s.
Really?
Oh, was he? Wow.
I thought he was like 26. Let me look it up.
I thought he was at least like 42.
Look it up.
Was he of a persuasion?
Nah, I don't know what he was, but I thought he was like 42 though. Real talk.
Either way, let's just assume late 20s.
Gotcha.
Yeah, felt like it was like an unsolved murder mystery. Like I felt like it was a movie or a show. Didn't sound right. Didn't sound realistic. It's unfortunate for her and her family. But to answer all the questions you've asked in terms of, friends and all of that, I don't know if anyone has real power to do that. I don't think then you're called a hater. You know what I'm saying? It's a fine line of, I'm not sure if the bandwidth of the friends has anything to do with the level of realizing she's out of your league, so to speak. I think that's an experience thing. You can't tell nobody. I had a friend who a lot of people he tried to approach was just out of his league. He just swore up and down like he was that. And I can never tell him no. I can never tell him that he couldn't handle that, or I can never tell him that I just couldn't see myself really getting in the way of that.
Was he ever like uncomfortably aggressive?
Yeah.
Oh, he was?
For sure. I'll tell you a quick story. It was me and my guys were hanging out, and this is before I got married, obviously. And we were at our homegirl's house, and we just had like a nice big sleepover. We was all just kicking it, just chilling. And he happened to be there. He came out of his side of his mouth talking about which one of y'all are cracking the legs open out of nowhere.
Out
of nowhere. These girls were people that we was kind of cool with. It wasn't like these were just like some J's or coming off the bench type of vibes. It was just legit, like cool friends. And it just, that's just his personality though, right? My soul. And he's always had that complex that he, I guess, better than what he really is, or whatever that thing is that prevents people from not being able to take
A reality.
with that reality, whatever that thing is, whatever that ego thing is. I'm not sure what it's called, but those things
Now
exist.
I think it's a false sense of confidence, because people always say that you should be confident in yourself and your abilities and things like that, and don't be afraid of a no. But I can understand in certain situations, but not when it comes to like the opposite sex, and because that can go quickly into sexual harassment when you feel like you're too confident. Because when someone's telling you no, or you come out just flat out saying, "Who cracking your legs open tonight?" Like that's
man.
So let me ask you, can I ask a question? Well, first of all, I don't think that the guy who we referenced in the person who committed the crime, not Kev's friend, the person who the story, the janitor guy. I mean the maintenance man.
Right.
People like that in my world, in my head, I don't think they have friends. Like that's why they like that. Like to me, that's the loner guy at the crib who plays video games all day. Like that's my stereotype for them. I don't feel like you have a group of friends that you hanging with, or else you'd be a little bit more occupied than to do. I could be wrong, but I'm just saying that's just my perception of a stereotypical window. And I don't care about stereotyping a creep and a murderer. So yeah, I mean, but that's just my perceptions. Like they're like the weirdo, socially awkward. That's why they don't understand the no.
Just to kind of interject, and I want you to ask your question. There are some guys who are quote unquote cool. Those guys on campus who also get attention that also don't know how to take no for an answer.
Because
a lot of those dudes, because they get attention. It's a lot of those dudes too.
That's true. Yeah,
it's like when your confidence goes past a certain point, it can sway one way or the other. Like it could either be like, I'm so confident that like I'll just bounce to the next thing, right? Because there's some people who's so confident they're like, oh yeah, I mean, she played me, but whatever. There's a million other women out here that want me, right? Like they might think of it that way. And then like a negative sway of the confidence is like, nah, she want me. Like no. Like
she's playing hard to get.
She playing hard to get, but she want me. It can go either way.
Like, I think it's like, who are you to say no to me?
That's what. That's what I was
like,
going for.
You know what I mean? And that ego gets to you.
It does.
Can make you do some crazy things, which is wild.
You know who she is? She's the owner of the thing that you want.
Yes.
Like that's who she is. But go ahead, Zoe.
So the question I have is, now this kind of goes towards what Kev was saying, where some people we know some people that are like that as well. Like collectively, we all know some of the people that they shoot for the moon and try to land somewhere in the stars or the cloud, and they're aggressive. They're sometimes uncomfortable, even for us with other guys. But do people who are, I don't know if it's an attractive thing, because beauty's in the eye of the beholder. So sometimes people just not beholding the beauty for your eyes, but like, what is?
You sound like you're
because I don't want to sound like I'm all that, but like, do ugly people know they ugly? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, do they know?
I don't think it has anything to do with that, bro.
Like, no, because that's the reality of the self. To me, I'm thinking like on the reality thing, like I'm this, I'm that, but like you see something different from what everybody else sees. That's what I'm saying.
There could be guys that are fly, that are attractive, that just are whack or creepy. Like, because what we only see the external, what we see, what how they say like dudes dress fly and impress other dudes. It's like sometimes chicks don't even care about that. But there are people who you'd be surprised. I've heard having friends that are women, you kind of get some insight how dudes are behind closed doors. Not that you ever asked that, but you're like, so-and-so is blah, blah, blah. It's like, word, that's crazy.
But how do they, but see, that's later on though. Like once they got to the closed doors, like, I think it's a physical thing. If I look at you, like you could be corny at your rap if you came to me and say some 1980s, like, hey girl, whatever. But
what's your sign?
Yeah, something like that. But I'm just saying, I feel like 90% of it is I don't like what I see, so I'm saying no, like get out of here.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. And this is what I was getting ready to say. Like, I hear where this conversation is going. I hear where this conversation is going. It's like no means no. But the reality of it is, to sum it up, is if you're very confident, if you feel very, very confident because of who you are, what you have going on, and the type of women you probably had experience dating, and when you pull up on something that's like low key below the level of talent that you used to approaching or getting approached by, right? Real talk, real talk. And now you feel you feel offended because you actually extended yourself, and now you extended the olive branch, and it's just like, wow,
opportunity.
Yeah, it's like, you feel some type of way about that. Now, indirectly, that doesn't necessarily always mean that they don't like what they see. That just means that their opportunity is not right now. They may have somebody that they really take it seriously that just don't want to talk about it, or it's a lot of different reasons as to the why this is a no. It has nothing to do with just you. Don't make it about you, right? If you're so confident in yourself, then you should be able to take that no and see through the lines of that and just be able to say, okay, I was, and move forward.
It wasn't me.
That's why it was a question.
She got some shit going on in her life.
Yeah,
and for the listeners, I want to make it clear. We will get to the advocacy of women. We just want to flesh out this topic first because I can hear people like, this girl got murdered. You talk about confidence. We're going to
get My point I was making is that like a lot of times guys can have the illusion that it's about them, and reality is not about you. That's the real message. Yeah,
we going to that's the core though. That's the root. So,
but I think about like the advocacy of women, I think that's what it is. It's really trying to teach other men too on how to accept that no.
For sure, which is what we're here to do.
Things like this from happening.
And that's the point what I wanted to start with in terms of like friendships, because I think that I can speak for us. And honestly, Jux League, what's going to end up happening is we're going to end up having this conversation each and every year. We did a whole episode on boundaries last year. And it seems like this is something that's just going to resurface. And I think we as 30-somethings, successful Black men who have been popular, we ran the yard, all those things, we never acted in a way that was making women uncomfortable. So I kind of feel a sense of responsibility to let specifically, we're talking to Black men, young Black men know that no is all right. Like just take your L, you know what I mean? And walk it off.
Bro, it ain't the end of the world.
Yo, can I add something? I think one of the things, whenever something like this happens, when we have a discussion about it, we're always like, yo, it's really dudes out here that act like that. But I think we've always done a good job of controlling our own space and controlling the people around us. Like, so if somebody is a little creepy or a little pervy and we tell them about themselves and they still act in that way, then they're just not a part of our circle. Right. And I think that's another thing. You got to be confident enough within yourself to control your space. So if you got a friend that you can't check, I would have to say that's not your friend. Like if your friend wilds out and you can't say, bro, you're wilding, like that's not cool. She don't want you, bro. Like you got to move on to something else. However you need to put it for them. If they can't say that, then y'all not really cool.
You know what? In a moment of transparency, when I asked Kev that question, I was really reflecting upon myself. I'm more in the bucket of what Cleveland's saying. There's a dude, and it's to this day, there's people in San Jose, California, who I've encountered that treat women a certain way that I don't agree with. I'm not fucking with I'm not, it's over. Like it's a wrap. Like it's no need for me to hang around you at all. Going backwards to days when early 20s, same vibe. If there was dudes around that I felt like, nah, I don't like the way he moving, I'm just removing that dude from my life. But there probably could be more that I do in spaces that can let homeboy know how foul he is. And then, in a way that makes it more, that doesn't get more violent. But like, yo, that's how you moving? Like that shit is cool. And I haven't done that. I just remove myself and be like, good luck to that nigga.
Yeah, you know what? You'd be surprised in too. A lot of times it's not even in what you actually verbally say. Like a lot of times people look at how you interact with women, what you talk about, how you talk about women when women aren't around, right. And like they'll get the drift that way. Like, oh, I said this to Var, he didn't even react. I said this to Zoe, he kind of looked at me funny. Like sometimes it's the stances that you take when women aren't around that speak volumes as well.
So I want to definitely get into the advocacy. How can we be more proactive in talking about this phenomenon? Now that we out of denial, we're not in denial anymore. There are men who move like this. What can we do?
Like we'd have to like
Right.
if we don't know these people, it's a little more difficult. But let's say, like you said, if we know them or we've interacted with them, maybe having that conversation or checking them. And I just like to make people understand, like bring it to where they at. Like, yo, do you got a mother? Yeah, I mean, you got a sister, like a daughter or whatever. Like, what so I'm gonna send my little man to do exactly what you just did. You know what I'm saying? Like, how would you feel? And that sometimes opens people's eyes because they don't, you got to kind of make people feel it, so to speak.
Yeah.
Stopping it like within your friend group. Everyone has to do their part within their individual friend group. So you're gonna have, well, not you're gonna, if you have someone who talks in a manner that not even you think, based on this person's personality and the word choice that they're using, that they're probably doing something wrong, you need to call them out immediately and tell them that is whack. Tell them that's wrong, right? And be upfront and straight and direct about it. Because if you kind of beat around the bush like, you probably shouldn't do that, it's probably not going to deter them. But if you let them know what they're doing is whack, like real men don't do stuff like that. Like who are you? What type of person are you? You make them like feel bad about what they're doing. And there's nothing wrong with making someone who does some stupid shit like that, and pardon my language, feel bad about their actions at all. Right. And I think if you're really direct that way, I think everyone can do their part. It's kind of hard to really make a broad play as to what you're supposed to do and try to change every man in the world. Is kind of impossible. But I think if everybody within their groups do their part and try to weed those people out, but by basically having those conversations, I think that can help, and don't ignore it.
Right. And I guess to clear something up, as we're thinking about what I said, there haven't been people in my space who are friends that have operated this way. It might have been somebody that it was a new space, or somebody that I was encountering. But people who I've never had friends that operate in this space, because I can't continue a friendship with somebody that operates in this space. But Cleveland, you were saying something before.
Yeah, I was just going to say too, I think it's twofold. I think the first thing you got to do is like with the beyond your peers, like younger men that are in your circle, teaching them about like consent specifically.
Facts.
Like consent is a very specific thing. Consent is yes. And if it ain't a yes, it's a no. If it's a like, I don't know. Okay, like wrap it up right there, brother. Like watch TV, just Netflix, no chill, just Netflix. Like don't take it any further unless it's a clear yes. And I think people have to be taught that, because it's a lot of men who are raised by women who still have negative views on how they treat women. They might see their mother being mistreated or whatever, but they still have negative ways towards other women. So I think it's really important that. And then what we were saying earlier, is funny that we started off talking about like confidence and esteem and things of that nature, because I honestly think that plays a part in it too. I think healthy confidence and healthy self-esteem, like people need to learn that. People need to be taught that. People need to learn what it is and what it isn't as well. So I would say those two things.
This one thing I wanted to end on this topic with, because I think Kev made a really good point, and I want to like spend some time around it. We have heard that no doesn't mean no. We've heard no is a challenge, right? In my mind, I'm not going to articulate it at this point right now, but in my mind, there's a very clear difference between when no is a challenge and when no really means no. How can we, Zoe and Kev, how can we differentiate and let these young brothers know when no doesn't mean no, and when no is like, she's just joking?
I think we think we know, and I think we pretty much do know from our experience, but it's too
wishy-washy.
Yeah, because not only that, let's say not in the case of like, this is an extreme case because the end result was murder and like a homicide, suicide. But sometimes people, they have a somewhat no, like a challenge no, but then regrets can happen a day later. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes. 100%.
And then so it's best to really, even if she's doing the the ha funny no, or the where you're not taking it serious, just take it serious. And then the next day when the person's texting you like, what was that about? Why you did? Nope, not playing those games with you.
Cleveland, how does the night end?
2
Thumbs
thumbs
up. Cisco and
Get
Ebert.
out of there. As soon as you hear that no. No, wait, stop. No.
You gotta hit the sponge
okay.
out. I'm gonna just head
Start the
out.
car.
Yeah, I'ma
You
just
said
head out.
no.
And
I
I
got
think
nothing
that's
left
the
for you.
best response because now
Yeah, you
it's
can't
just
play
too
with
hard. Like
You have
you
to.
don't know if you don't know what that no is. You no way of knowing that unless she tells you. And if she just says no, no matter if it has a laugh behind it or not, take it as it's a no,
It's a
and move
no-no.
on. Don't go
I've
down
never
that path.
flirted with the nose, bro. Like
Nah, not at
never.
all.
Never. I don't care what the situation is. If she said no in any kind of way, I don't care if we was pillow fighting. No, stop! Don't hit me with the pillow. Okay, I'm not
But-
hitting you with the pillow no more. It's over. Like you ruined the fun.
Meanwhile, Cleveland married. He's like, no, babe, you said no. You said I'm going to sleep.
Yo, consent is a serious thing, man. Like,
Yo,
and
and
we're making light of
married
it, but
people-
like, in all honesty, like sometimes people's like nervous mechanism, you don't know what it is. They could really
Absolutely.
be uncomfortable.
Right.
And that's like the best way to express it. No.
Or
Like, but
laughing.
that could be like, no, like nigga, get off me. Like people
Yeah.
don't like always have that confidence. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh shit, hold on. Cleveland said nigga. This is
I'm following suit.
Oh, he's triggered.
it's getting good.
Hey,
Uh,
yeah. Well, I got a 14-year-old daughter. That's what I want her to say. Like, forgive me.
Word
Like,
up.
be straight
The
up.
Lord
Like,
understand where his mind was.
right.
Nah, you want your daughter to be like, my uncle's gonna beat your ass.
Exactly.
Kat, you wanted to wrap us up with this?
No, I wanted to tap into what you guys were talking about in interventions, right? And talk
Mhm.
about how to change behaviors. I thought that was like a good segue into like action items. But on a small scale, if you're listening and you have people that are your close friends or a friend that acts a certain kind of way, then I think an opportunity is to create a group intervention and just discussing on how to move around women and what not to do, right? And on a larger scale, if you're an educator or if you're a decision maker for any organization that mentors young Black men or a church rather, or whatever your position is as a decision maker, then use platforms to create workshops, in personal development, bring women in, or dating is a thing, right? So figure out a way to partner with other organizations that are doing some type of engagement opportunities. I also want to say, I will tap in because I know you guys, that was just to tap into some intervention thoughts and maybe I can grow into something on a federal level. Maybe that's as high as it can go. But thinking about the individual, let's not forget to consider mental issues, right? Health issues, right? And women, I'm going to make you accountable. Ladies, I'll give you some accountability just a little bit here, because if you're flirting with the idea because you want to be chased, so to speak, and if that's the mechanism of showing your worth and value, walk trailly around that space. I'm not saying anybody's women's fault. I'm just giving people thoughts on how to think about and how they move and what these can trigger the wrong person. Mental health is a real thing, so let's not just say it's simple to recognize the difference between a yes or a no, because sometimes the ego strikes a chord and that can become a thing. So that's the thing, right? And the last thing I think I was going into the no means no. I guess that's like the last of it, right? So the no means no for me is a real thing. Just kind of segue into that. I could feel you guys, right? If you're getting no, then move on, keep it moving. But if it feels flirtatious, if it feels inviting, as a man, you have to have the accountability to say either do you have time to waste? If you do have time to waste, then cool. Be mindful of all your actions and all how that can be misinterpreted. Take notes of what's happening in real time. And I mean, that's just kind of like just some thoughts I had wrapped in my head because you guys were kind of moving kind of quick in terms of just action items and then some thoughts. So yeah, I just wanted to share those ideas regarding the mental health aspect specifically, though. I think that's something to consider.
Beautifully said, bro. And with the mental health aspect, I thought about that, but I felt like, because to your broader point, mental health is incredibly important with situations around how people are moving. But drawing a line in it saying, I don't give a fuck what boy was going through. That nigga's a scumbag.
Yeah, for sure. It's just unfortunate, right? It's
for sure
situation.
But as we put a bow on that topic, we're going from, so before I do, rest in peace to Miya Mercano. Let's if we can have a little piece of, you know, control anything in the world, is to hope that men are learning to just go the fuck home, bro. Just go the fuck home. Try it another day. Try her friend, even talk to her friend or something. Like it's not for you. So going from one tough conversation to another, how many people here have seen Dave Chappelle special, The Closer?
Funny thing
Sorry.
is, I just saw last night. Like it wasn't planning to. Just laid in bed and laid on the couch and then turned it on. Caught that last night.
So everybody here seen it, right?
Mhm.
So there's a lot of controversy around the content. There are organizations calling for it to be removed from Netflix. There are people who are vehemently offended by certain parts of it, don't really care about others. And on the other side, there are some people who feel like it's nothing wrong with it. It's funny. What were your reactions after the hour and 10 minutes? What was your reaction to the special?
I'll start with that. Like, so I thought it was, a comedy special, so I looked at it as jokes, right? That's how I initially looked at it when I watched it, and then you start seeing and hearing all the controversies. So apparently, I guess Dave Chappelle has said things in the past about the transgender community, and I guess this exacerbated like their feelings and how they feel about Dave Chappelle. I felt like based upon what he was saying, how he always says, like, just listen to what I'm actually saying, that he doesn't have a problem with the transgender community. And as he said, it was more around, how black people are treated by white people.
Mm-hmm.
And the treatment that they get, black people get by white people has always been bad. And I mean, I think one of the things that he mentioned is that, he joked again about being jealous of the transgender community because of the movement or the LGBTQ plus. I said that correctly, right?
You got it. I don't even think
Okay.
you're joking, for real. I think
I don't know.
What we
I
call a
took it as a
serious
joke, but I
joke.
don't know.
Serious
But he
joke.
like, like their movement moving on pretty fast, whereas the black movement trying to get equal rights and not killed by police and be able to vote when you want to, just things like that. It just haven't moved. The needle just hasn't really moved. I mean, granted, we're not getting beat every 2 seconds, might be every 10 minutes,
Right.
but it's not as bad, I guess, as it once was. But still, I guess when you look at that particular movement, he felt like it's moving along pretty quickly. And I think he thinks it's because it's, you have a lot of white people in the LGBT community, and that's why that's moving along, and that's his problem.
Yeah, and to that point, there will never be a son or daughter that comes to Thanksgiving and says, "Hey, mom and dad, I'm black."
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
But on the contrary, there could be an opportunity for a son or daughter to come back to the Thanksgiving dinner table and say, I identify as gay. And if you come from a loving family, which not everybody does, then your family may acquiesce to the idea of what it means to support you, which permeates and makes it more broad for you to get support from the family who may not have supported gay people the day before. So it's a big nuance in the LGBTQ struggle within their struggle between black folks and white folks and other marginalized folks. But I'll stop there because you made a great point. How about the rest of y'all? How did y'all feel directly after watching?
I like where James is going. I mean, I'm watching a comedy show, and it was funny because I noticed that my wife wasn't laughing as much as I was laughing, and I had a moment to recognize that, like, she being sensitive to the thought and the idea. I will say, generationally speaking, and this is not any group I'm speaking to. I'm speaking to a universal concept. We're just a little softer. It would just how we're not as tough as we were as kids, which is weird. Like, and to say all of that, I think that it was a comedy show. And I said earlier off the line that a comedy show's intention is to make light of hard situations or hard topics. And he perfected that, and he killed that. I thought, and I don't really I think Dave Chappelle is funny, but that was a real moment where I recognized his goatness. It really came out to me because he was able to take a lot of controversial issues that he was dealing with as a person, its topics, and just flip it into a show. I thought that was kind of fire.
bro, just be talking.
Yeah. Like
Somebody
he's just being
said that.
himself.
Somebody said that they think that he is the greatest public speaker of our
I
time.
was gonna say that. I wouldn't say of our time. I would say one of the greatest public speakers of our time for sure. Because it's what he did was so masterful, bro. He could have you crying, laughing to like deep in thought at a flip of a switch, literally within lines.
Yep.
Like there was no long ramp up or setup. He just like had you laughing, and then the next minute you was thinking like, "Dang, yo, that's deep what he just said."
I think
And
that's
that's
called
masterful.
misdirection. I think it's in comedy. I think that's called misdirection when they take you one way, like a Euro step. It's like, like, yeah.
Eurostep, yeah.
And his tag, and then he had a few tags like when you bring back the same thing
Yeah,
that
callbacks.
you mentioned
Yep.
before. But like, yo, I thought that was masterful. But you know what? I really saw it as kind of like a term that comes to mind is level setting. Like I kind of felt like he was taking, to your point about like talking about these different marginalized groups, but he was comparing all of them to what we go through in the Black community. And that comparison about how we're not as protected is an important comparison to make. And,
Right.
and while I may not agree with everything he said about transgender people in the past or even within this special, I gotta admit that the point he was making about how some marginalized groups are treated differently than others is a solid point, and you can't argue against that. Like there are groups where you can't say anything about them without some kind of repercussion to what you just expressed, even if it's a statement of disagreement. Like you have to be careful with how you disagree, right? So I think he was bringing that up.
We're towing that line right now as we speak. We're towing.
We
the
are
line.
though.
Yeah.
And to me, that represents what he was doing in that comedy special. So you have to toe the line about so many different topics nowadays, and he didn't toe the line about anything. And I think that's what he was bringing up. It's like you toe the line about everything, and you can't say this about this group or this about this group, but you can say and do whatever you want to say and do when it comes to Black people. And to me, that's what was resonating to me as I was listening. He was like, all right, this group can't be touched, I'm touching them. This group can't be touched, I'm touching them. This group can't be touched. He no holds barred. And I respected
metaphorically touching.
Yeah, metaphorically. But I respected that he did that because I just felt like, you know what I mean? I felt like we're not as protected in some cases when it comes to those kind of things.
Right.
Like some other marginalized groups are.
So here's what I'm gonna just jump in here. Anybody seen Godfather of Harlem?
I've seen the first
what is that on?
Okay.
It's
on Epics.
It's on Epics.
It's neither here nor there.
I
But
got the 5.
shut up. One of the themes that happened in a couple on season 2 is that one of the mobsters is making money with a Black gangster, so to speak. So the Black gangster says to the white mobster about, doing business with each other. It's like, oh, you scared he gonna call you a nigga lover, right? And the proximity to Blackness is so damning to people that they'll cut off their nose to spite their face. So what do I mean when I say that? When it comes to the nuance that Dave Chappelle was articulating, sometimes the hypocrisy that Dave Chappelle was putting on display was that there are people within your struggle that have an even more exacerbated struggle, but if they align with anything that Dave Chappelle says, if they're a part of your community, then they shun you. So what's the real, what are we really standing for? If there is somebody who looks like you, who identifies from your community and identifies with somebody who the group disagrees with, should you shun that person? Or should you be like, okay, they're one of us, they just have a different perspective. If you watch the special, the way that he ties it in at the very end, you'll understand what I'm saying. But I think about it like this. I think Dave Chappelle had dog whistles to everybody and called everybody to the same. Remember a pep rally? You got the basketball team, baseball team. It called everybody to the gym, right? They're like, oh, we're going to get him. And you watch and you're like, this motherfucker's breeding us. Damn. Wow. I never thought about it from that perspective. But how do you get everybody in the same room? Sometimes negativity. How do I get you here? Right? Oh, meetings at the playground at 3:00. We're going to fight. What did we do in college though? We promoted an event with the Sigmas as
That
if
we was
it
gonna
was,
fight.
and then and people came way more than they would have come if we would have said we're having an open mic night together.
We didn't even promote it as an event. We had an event, but we just talked shit to each other to the point people really thought it was serious.
Right.
They're like, yo, they really about to mash out. Like,
And that's what it is. And I think, and I wanted to make sure I say this very clear because I consider myself an ally to the LGBTQ community, although they have faced intense persecution, right? Part of inclusion is being able to have nuance and understand that everybody's struggle is different. And how can I exercise empathy to understand what that person is going through, even if I have my own shit to go through? And I think that's what Black people do each and every day. Black women are multiple hyphenate minorities. They are empathetic to a lot of different struggles and are often on the front lines. I'll wrap this up by saying I think that if you look at this from a nuanced perspective, you may understand a little bit more as to what Dave Chappelle was trying to convey. But if you are here for the smoke, you're going to find the smoke.
But he brought you in with the smoke. His
brought
smoke
you
was
in.
intentional.
Right.
He threw the smoke bomb and you had to clear through it and brought you to some more. Like,
Get everybody to the gym. You know what I mean?
Did
And-
you?
I think.
Yo,
what
did
triggered
y'all
a lot of
notice the
people-
two? It was two women in the audience that was not
yes,
feeling
yes.
it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you
But
notice
you know
that?
what?
They were
You know
like,
what? The one to the left was kind of he got her. The one to the right though,
with the
Yeah.
with
she
the
was
pink hair,
stone
with the
faced.
pink-
Yeah, she was stone faced.
Woo! She was hot. She was not feeling it.
but
think-
what did
Oh,
you buy
dude.
tickets to go there for? You ain't know? Like, you just
You
now
know how
hearing
it goes. People buy tickets for the outrage. I was there. He said,
fake outrage.
"Yeah, you know what time it is."
I think it was like with the I guess transgender community in general is like the fact that he believed gender is fact, and he said that, and then the fact that he backed J.K. Rowling
Yeah,
on what well, I don't remember. I think it was called Tough or Turf.
yeah.
Turf.
TERF. Yes.
Turf.
TRF. Well, I can't remember exactly what that meant, but it's an acronym, I guess. If you are a feminist and you don't like transgender people, essentially, and
Hold on.
because-
Let's get the actual definition. I'm gonna look it up.
But that's kind of what he said.
That's essentially what it is, right?
I don't want to essentially this. So a TERF is an acronym and it stands for Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminist.
Yeah, right. That, and he classified based upon the Webster Dictionary of Feminist as a human being, right? So he classified himself as a feminist, and he said gender is fact, and he in fact is a TERF, right? Which I think that is what, in my opinion, because I don't know. Obviously, I'm not part of the transgender community, right? So I'm not speaking on their behalf, but I think that might be something where it's really difficult for someone to say you don't have an issue with transgender if you say in fact that you are a TERF and that you believe that gender is fact. Now, the devil's advocate to that, in my opinion, is if someone's belief is that gender is fact, does not mean that they hate people because they're choose to be, or I don't know if it's a choice, and I don't want to get into that part of it. But if they become like, if they're born a man and they become a woman, or they don't have a particular pronoun, or whatever the case is, if you believe that gender is fact, but you still acknowledge that this person is whom they choose to be, is that an issue?
Yeah, and that's the thing that
That's
I
like
like
the devil's
that
advocate part of it.
I like that he clarified after by saying it's a fact that in order for all of us to come through this world, we have to come through a woman's womb, or he said between her legs, but it could be a C-section, what have you. You have to pass through a woman's womb, right? Which is a fact. And that's what he's linking. He was linking those two as gender is fact for this reason. But he also articulated how he doesn't think that if you are a trans woman, that you're not a woman. He said, no, you can identify as a woman. That's perfectly fine. But he was making the differentiation between basically like those who could give birth and those who can't, but
Yeah, because he killed it with the impossible.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
I
I
died.
Funny.
Son,
I'm sorry.
I died. It was
I'm sorry.
hilarious.
I don't know if that's offensive or not. I really did. I was like, yo, wow. Wow. Like,
I know, yo.
beyond.
Nah, that
I
joint
was
caught
like,
me.
yo,
with the beyond,
wow.
that caught me off guard.
Yeah, I
'Cause I
spit
felt
out
like
my
he said
juice.
that right after he was on like a serious topic. Like
Yeah.
he just like
Dude,
flipped the
son.
switch.
I was like, oh my God. And that's where I go back to the point where I looked at it when I first watched it before I seen the outrage, as I thought that was just a joke. Just like I would laugh if, a comedian is calling, even a white comedian, right? And I'm not a white comedian calling black people niggers, right? But a white comedian talk about the stereotypes of black people.
Yeah, it's
Yo,
funny.
Gary Owen does it all the time.
Or if you watch Charlemagne and Andrew Schultz, they have a podcast called Brilliant Idiots, right? They both rag on each other in a satirical way, where it's like, Charlemagne will say like, Andrew, what do you call somebody that nags a lot? He's like, you won't get me. I'm not going down that road. But he'll flip it and say something in a way like he called Charlemagne a cracker, and he would use cracker in response to, instead of saying nigga, it's like bunch of lazy crackers. You know what I mean? So so it's funny when you have nuance and you understand, as opposed to just wanting to divide everything, because that's not how the world is.
Well,
man.
like I said, with Gary Owen, he does that like with the comparison. If you ever see his comedy, he don't drop no N-bombs or nothing. Obviously, he was married or in the process of getting divorced to a black woman. So obviously he's not doing that. But he's talked about being the only white guy at a black church or black this or black that, which are our stereotypes. And he's pinpointed. But I'm still like, somebody I saw a tweet, I can't remember. I think it was what's this dude's name? Safari or whatever. And he was like, yo, did everybody forget like Dave Chappelle's show? Like I know the times has changed, but like y'all expecting somebody who did that to be like, people don't really change. You feel me? Like,
and a lot of it was self-deprecating to black people. Like a lot of the Chappelle show, which is why he stopped.
He had a skit called "The Nigga Our Family." Son.
He said the people in the room. They said the people in the room, I felt they stopped laughing with me and started laughing at me. And that means his art was so good that the thing that he wanted to make his people laugh, he made them laugh too much. That's some profound shit.
Yeah,
man.
How do you even process that and think that? But I will say this: I understand where he's coming from as far as like one thing that he said in the special that I mentioned about a season ago or half a season ago for us was. He's talking about sitting at home and watching black people, like people just beat up on Asians. Remember, like he had mentioned that. And remember, I had brought that up in the Zoe Knows quite some time ago. Like, this is what's going on. I mean, I work in the city, I work in New York, I see all the stuff that's going on. And it was kind of crazy to me, but I didn't want to sound insensitive, but I felt like that same empathy. And they even brought it up today on Hot 97 was like, a lot of black people feel if you don't care about us, then we don't care. It's just like they're giving you the same energy. I'm not saying that's the right thing to feel.
And we catch more smoke for it.
Yeah, exactly. So like with the Asian hate and people, okay, they was getting beat up. It's like, yo, but that's like he said it. Dave Chappelle said like, oh, well, it's been happening for 400 years and nothing seems to change and nobody cares. And then like all these other things that people forget the origin of, like the civil rights bill that everyone is eating off of.
Oh my God, talk about it.
Can we go to the origin of who helped cultivate that bill? So we didn't say, yo, the Black Right Bill, because that's not us. We just wanted to be fair. So we said the Civil Rights Bill, but everyone seems to be having their own branch from that tree, but forgetting the root.
The Civil Rights Bill of 1964 has given way to the Immigration Act in 1965, by which most Asian folks who are here, whose families weren't naturally born in America, were able to come here through immigration practices. So, yeah, man, you got to do your history and understand that, like, we have paved ways for everybody. And if you think about even, y'all know about Stonewall, which he meant, right? Stonewall was popped off by a Black trans woman. So it's like we are always at the front lines, but I just wanted to create some. Go ahead, Zoe.
Well, the last thing I'll say this too, we are at the front lines, and that's why he said, don't punch down at us, because I see that these organizations.
Oh, Sojourn the Truth. I forgot about that part too.
Yeah, exactly. And I see that these organizations are coming up, and some of them Black, which I hadn't heard of before, and I'm like, well, where was they at? Yeah, I don't remember seeing their name on the front line of Trayvon Martin and this, that. And this is what we're saying, like punching down on Black people, because for there to be a phrase called the phrase "all lives matter" or "blue lives matter." Like for you to say that in contrast to us, it's showing that's the proof right there.
Yo, real quick, because this is relevant to this, but it's just something that just came out. So John Gruden just stepped down as being the Raiders, the Las Vegas,
did he?
Raiders head coach, right? Let me read this to you. This is just what I'm reading. So it somehow has gotten worse for John Gruden because his emails don't just include racist language now. They also include homophobic slurs. So he did not step down when it was racist language, but he stepped down after it also included homophobic language.
I mean, I'm gonna just say this. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this because I can see how that can look. I mean, yeah, it came out, but in terms of the the community that he offended, it came out when I saw that come out too. But I think he wouldn't have to have stepped down for just racist, unfortunately, right? It just got worse because it was more.
I think it's a compound of interest,
right? Yeah. And then it just they don't want no smoke with that community, bro. No one wants smoke with that community.
But that's what we're trying to say.
That's the point of Dave Chappelle.
That's the point of what Dave is talking about, right? Is how Black people have been marginalized for however many years.
The OG marginalized,
right? Yeah, and nothing really changes. But then as soon as that, the LGBTQ community, anyone says something about it, and then action happens quickly. And I think that's rightfully so. Action should happen. If you say something homophobic about people, you deserve to lose your job. That's wrong. Like, I don't care if you're joking. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't like gay people because they're gay, or you don't like transgender people because they're transgender, and that's what they choose to be, you're a piece of shit. Like, that's wrong. You should not like some person because of who they want to be. It needs to be about their character, period. So you deserve to lose your job. But what we're saying is that, okay, so he can be racist, not have to step down. His job. But then you add this, and now he has to step down.
Well, the stepping down part I was trying to make my point was that they play like that. When they're getting fired, they just call it stepping down. It's not necessarily, it's not even him stepping down. It's just that look, this is too hot. You're making us too hot. Send that letter out, send that tweet out.
But if you think about it, let's also, oh man, this is where it gets tricky. When white people get fired, they come up. Right, you remember what they did to get John Gruden? They gave him a piece of the team.
Yeah,
they gave him a piece of the team. He ain't going nowhere. In actuality, he probably got a cushier job now. You feel like he just
less stress and still collecting.
He ain't got a coach. Like, just John, just stay away from the facility for the year. You feel me? You're still gonna collect your check. So who is actually winning with the bigotry still?
Exactly. That's all the point. So I want to say this too. We do understand that the LGBTQ plus community is not just white. We know that there are people who are Black people that are. So I think what happened was that the Black version, the Black group of the LGBTQ folks, they felt like, well, damn, like we here too. But I think they have to understand that, yes, you are what you identify with. However, the lead who's leading the movement, that's, or on the face of it, who's making these changes or hitting the gavel to these cancellations around the world, right? Everybody getting canceled seems to be people that are white. Right. And I want to say we're not leaving, or Dave Chappelle's not leaving or excluding, because he even mentioned even a Black person that was gay when they called the cops or when they did that. You see what I'm saying? And he showed right then and there, like, that's one thing that people missed when he said that. He was like, well, like, you just pick and choose, and now you a victim, and then you call the cops on me. Even a Black gay person wouldn't call the cops on me because they're not going to identify on which one of y'all.
They don't want me to die. Right.
Exactly. So I say that to say, for those in that arena who are Black and trans or LGBTQ, I would just say my grandmother is not here on this earth, so y'all can't cancel her. But she always tell you Black first. That's just how I feel. You're gonna be Black first. That's what they see. Like you said it. You can't come to Thanksgiving and be like, hey, I'm black. Like you knew this already. You actually know you were black first before you know your orientation.
I heard this somewhere where they said you identify what people see you as. That is the identity that you take, because you heard that Sage Steele was talking about Barack Obama.
She's terrible,
right?
Yeah.
But in synopsis of what she was saying, she looks like a black woman, so people would treat her black. So even if Barack Obama's father is black and was non-existent, and he got raised by his white grandmother and his white mom, they're gonna see that white family with a black boy. So you will identify with how they see you, and that's how you will move through the world. But yeah, man, we just wanted to shed some light on that. I don't know. There's no action items with this shit, because it just, I wanted to, add our.
I think it's some action
Stay
items.
black.
Just understand what other people are going through, right? Judge people like
nuance,
I guess
empathy.
what Martin Luther King is saying, judge people by the context of their character, right? And I don't want to just leave it at the color of their skin, but who they are and who they choose to be. Don't not like somebody because of what they choose to be, who they choose to be, how they choose to be addressed. Like that's just wrong. But at the same time, make sure that everyone is treated fairly.
Yo, Zoe, before we get to your question, did James just quote MLK? The 2007 James would have been like, he would have never.
Like,
right.
It's called growth, good brothers.
Look at that, man. Look, I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Yep.
So say your last thing so we can wrap this
No,
topic.
my last question being that James said, like, this is a phrase that kind of throws me off, right? That what I identify as, right? And this is not like degrading or negating what people really feel, right? But what happens if I start will people take me serious? Like I want to identify as white, so I get white people privilege?
Nope.
No, you don't. Nope.
So that's what I'm saying. Like that's kind of foul, right? Like I can't
you can't be transracial. You can
why not?
Can't, because
James biracial, he can do it.
But yet the world sees me as I don't want to just say a black man, I would say a person of color.
Spanish.
No, fuck that person of color shit.
No, it's a joke,
man.
bro. No. Yo, hold on. That was a joke because I knew Zoe would come with that nonsense.
Oh, okay, my bad.
No, I absolutely. I'll clarify. I identify as a black.
I knew what James
was
was
saying, but I knew Zoe would joke.
Sure was. You right.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't identify with that whole person of color shit, because it's a blanket way to kind of sneak black people in or put everybody else on the black people wave. I'm not trying to hear that shit.
But that's my point. That's how that happens. That everyone gets
or
on
BIPOC.
Back. They keep riding this wave.
No,
and they riding on our coattail, and it's like black and person of color, like everything it keeps
black and brown,
black.
blackity
black.
Yeah, I identify as a black man, nothing else.
And with that said,
identify as white, but go ahead.
Nah, identify as this.
Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario?
Hey, yo, Zoe knows this. Zoe knows that. So light skin, but Zoe stay black.
Well, James kind of took my Zoe nose right at the last minute with the John Gruden thing, because I definitely had the ESPN alert. But
I just thought it was relevant. I'm like,
yeah, it was.
Just talking about.
So yo, James, you podding, bro. That was top notch podcasting right there. That was
he probably got a whole note. You got a side laptop up somewhere. Like,
nah, son, you podding, yo. Hold on, one time for James, man. One day at a time.
Is that the work phone you using?
Nah, personal.
Oh, those Bugle Boy jeans you wearing? Hell nah, you know them. You know they polo.
So, well, anyway, John Gruden stepped down, and only because he was not racist, but because of some other stuff. But anyway, there was a huge fight over the weekend that was actually a pretty good, crazy brawl. It was a slugfest.
Yeah, I meant to ask you that, Zoe. Did you ever get home to watch it, like in person?
No, I didn't, because the one stereotype, black people didn't start on time in that show. I was still in the show, and I was hot. I'm like, yo, how they gonna start like 40 minutes late? They threw off my whole schedule, so I had to wait until I got home to go on the Fire Stick and watch it. But unfortunately for me, because I was rooting for Wilder, but Tyson Fury won. You can't discredit this man's skill set; is just different. He's just a different.
I was watching Undisputed today, right? And you know how there are certain words that people don't want to say because it's like you don't know how they're going to be taken, and you like stutter a little bit. Skip was like, he's a fat man.
Yo, he don't want a body shave, but he do look crazy. Yo. He not your stereotypical prototype. Like you got Anthony Joshua, you got
But I said that while watching the fight with Jess. I'm like, bro, like, wow, they got too many muscles to be this tired, this fast, man.
Yo, I know.
Like, he got a lot of muscles, bro.
Muscles weigh you down. People don't realize that. He put more muscle on for no reason. Like, dog, just stay lean, stay your weight, and just hit how you hit. Like, play your game. Like, you don't step up to nobody else's game.
When else is funny when you watch boxing with people who don't usually watch boxing, right? Like, so I was watching with Tiff, and if you watch from the beginning, Loaded Lux came out with Deontay.
Oh yeah,
right.
I knew he was gonna lose right then.
So Tiff was like, he not even performing. What are you doing? I'm like, you're right. So she's like, who was he? He not even performing. Like,
no, like seriously, like what was the point of that? Usually this person is performing. Usually they're actually like they got their mic work.
Right. Yeah, man, you're not wrong.
I told you he was going. As soon as I saw that on the
recap, legend, though.
He is, but listen, if you really want some good juju and you wanted to win, you should have brought Jadakiss with you because he seems to be.
You're right.
That's what you should have did. But that's
not the fuck the frail shit. That should have been it.
Man. Yesterday's price is not today's price.
That's a fact.
Don't matter, son. Don't matter. I mean, shoot, you know how much he made? I would have taken my chance just to win again.
Give me some good. Free, bro.
This is true. So anyway,
Relux, Deluxe. I'm sorry.
Deluxe. I just want to let y'all know I had an ounce of hope, and the Giants season is officially over now. Saquon had a nasty looking sprain.
Yo, that shit look crazy. So how long is he out?
Tennis ball. I don't know. Is it probably a high ankle sprain, but it's probably going to be like a good 3 weeks or something like that. Then Daniel Jones got hurt.
ACL leg?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't think so. I think that was his right was the ACL. This one was his left ankle.
Yo, can I talk to you about? Let me have some Giants talk right now. Who that nigga Tony? This nigga was doing too much. Not only did he was he the one that caused the little tweak with Saquon's ankle.
Yes,
he got thrown out of the game. It's like, yo, bro, you doing way relax.
Too much. I said it in the beginning of the game, like, yo, why is he? I'm up, like, he getting on my nerves. But so we lost. We have a depleted team. The Eagles won, right? Y'all took a W. Right?
Yo, that was an amazing game.
I saw it. It was crazy. I watched it.
I didn't watch it.
Man, we were stinking up the joint, stinking it up. Oh my God, it was. Yeah, we came back and won.
It was crazy. So it was a decent football week. Basketball is about to start. I'm excited. You know what I'm saying? It's about to
I watched some preseason Lakers and I got anxious.
Oh, yeah.
Preseason games.
Nervous.
Fucking Russell.
Yeah, bro.
15 like turnovers in
26 turnovers. I was like,
bro, that man was like 3 for like 85 for a second.
But yo, when he's playing, right? Is LeBron playing with him?
Nah, LeBron not playing yet.
No, LeBron played.
Not the one I'm talking about.
Okay. Yeah, because LeBron got to calm him down. Like, look, my man, you got one job. Let me tell you how this works. So, you know, that was interesting. And then obviously the Dave Chappelle special was a big thing. We covered that. So, I mean, all in all, it was an interesting, action-packed, and controversial weekend. So that's pretty much how that happened. All over it was a big sports world weekend. So,
all right. So bring us out of here with the serenity prayer.
There we go. We want to ask God to grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference between the two. And that's not the difference between the no's, okay?
No means no.
Yes, there's no difference.
Is there a heart? Is there a heart?
And that's been episode 58 of the Juxtaposition.Pod.
You got to have love in your heart.
We will catch y'all next week.
Here's a house for love, and I will learn.